Good morning, Vets 104 students. So I wanted to keep trying this type of lecturing because it seems like it's helpful, and it's a good way for me to be able to review with you each week's lessons since we obviously can't meet in person. So this lecture is for week 9, and this is the common diseases of small animal kennel facilities. So I know we've been kind of building on this and you're probably tired of hearing about all this, but it's really, really important, and it's kind of showing you how all of the courses that you're learning and all of the diseases you're learning, whether it's in parasitology or you're learning body systems and anatomy, or in small animal care, you're learning different things about how to treat the animals. This is really kind of showing you how they all tie together, and they all really do tie together when it comes to caring for your animals. We're doing the husbandry parts of it, and that's what this course obviously is focusing a little bit more is on the husbandry aspect. As you go out into the veterinary field, as a technician, you're going to be doing husbandry as well as treating animals and caring for animals. So you really have to understand both pieces. I've said this multiple times over the semester. If you see an animal sitting in a cage that just vomited or just had diarrhea, you're not going to wait for your kennel cleaning person to come by and clean that animal's cage. You're going to walk over and treat that animal, clean them up, record in their chart that they had vomit, diarrhea, whatever, and then inform the veterinarian on the case when you have a chance to review that case with them and let them know, hey, this animal did this many times today. That's all part of the animal care and husbandry process for animals. So, last week we talked about treating animals and going through the treatments of that and making sure your documentation matches. For this week, we're just reviewing different common diseases in the small animal facilities. So if you go to what to know about diseases of small animal facilities. So big takeaway is prevention is the key. Obviously, we've been kind of drilling that into your heads, and hopefully you're getting that. Prevention is key. The better that we do at protecting our animals, the less likely they are to become infected with these viruses or diseases. So it's our job as veterinary professionals to ensure that the animals we're caring for get the proper care and treatment. So if the animals need vaccinations to be protected from these viruses and diseases, we need to recommend them at their yearly annual visits or their puppy visits to ensure that we're protecting them the best that they can, or we can. Some of the prevention is looking at your facility protocols. What kinds of things are you doing in your veterinary facility to ensure your pets that are coming in are safe? Whether you're boarding animals or you're just treating hospitalized patients. Those customers or clients are entrusting that you are going to protect their animal as best you can from getting a virus or a disease. No one wants to drop their animal off at the vet hospital for a bladder surgery and have it come home with, some type of virus, kennel cough. Okay? It does happen because as we know and we're learning, some of the vaccines aren't 100% effective. But the more we can do to prevent those types of things are the better. And letting people know. So if you're going to board your animal at a boarding facility, most facilities, decent facilities, have a list of vaccinations and things that they want the animals coming in to have on board before they come in. So they're going to have kennel cough vaccination, rabies vaccination, distemper and parvo vaccination. They might require you to have monthly flea and tick prevention, as well as heartworm and parasite infection monthly control. The more you can recommend your clients have, the less likely your facility is to be infected with one of these things. And then you're therefore cutting down on the disease transmission to the next animals coming in. So, obviously there's different things we can do here. So, as technicians, like I said, you're going to be looking for these things as animals walk through your door. You're going to be assessing them. If an animal has vomiting and diarrhea, maybe and it's a young animal and maybe doesn't have vaccine history, you might not have them come through and sit in your waiting room. You might say, okay, you know what, we're going to put you right into an exam room so that you're not potentially infecting everybody that walks through our waiting area. Animal that's coughing. Same as people, right? We're all going through this virus thing and probably a little bit more aware of germs and viruses and how things are spread. But if an animal is coughing, do I want it coughing all over my waiting room in the vet clinic? No. I would like to put them in a room so that they are isolated from the rest of the community. And then we know when that animal leaves, we need to really disinfect that room, depending on what it is that we find. As a licensed veterinary technician, you will need to be aware of these in order to assist in communicating to the clients what they have been diagnosed with. So obviously understanding all these different viruses and diseases, this is why you're learning them in college, is so that you can understand how to inform the client what their pet has just been diagnosed with. The biggest thing is sometimes communication breakdown. Veterinarians will come in and they'll say one thing and blah, 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 and the client says, I don't have no idea what they just told me. So they're going to look to you as the technician who's probably going over the medications or the special food that they're sending them home with, and they're going to say, can you explain this a little bit more to me? I don't quite understand. Okay, or if you see that they have a puzzled look on their face, it's our job to make sure that they understand what they need to do and that it's important to, make sure that dog only gets walked on a leash for the next few days, or so they can really monitor what he's doing, urinating and defecating and all that. If they just let him out into the yard and let him run around, they may have no idea what he's doing out there. So it's really important for us to convey that message. With talking about preventatives, you're gonna, if you haven't seen this already in practice, or you might see this in internships, you're going to end up developing a spiel for flea and tick prevention and heartworm prevention and monthly deworming. There's so many products out there, and we do need to know how each of the ones work that we're selling in our clinics, because the clients look to us as the experts. We should know about all the parasites, how the animals get them, and then which medications treat which parasites. If we don't know that, we need to sound educated, so make sure you get educated. Make sure you understand what you're talking about. If you're not sure, spend some time observing someone else talking about them. Do some reading. You really need to know what those are before you can sound educated in front of a client and let them know what it is that they're buying, because they're not going to believe you, or they're not going to buy into the reason why they need to use them if you aren't educated in what you're talking about. So there's no official assignment this week except to review this material, giving you the week off. So there's different tabs here. So we have it broken into respiratory diseases, gastrointestinal diseases, retroviruses, and integumentary infections. So please review each of these tabs. These are kind of like just the top few that you may see in both dogs and cats. We'll talk a little bit more about zoonotic diseases next week in week 10 with that lecture, or if you've already watched that, great. So they kind of build on each other. So just kind of understanding these different viruses or diseases. So if we go back out.
Are you done?
So going back out here to the main page, the last piece of this lesson will be the video on disease transmission. So just a quick video, just kind of understanding surfaces, things like that that we need to be aware of. Obviously, I think, like I said earlier, most of us going through this whole COVID-19 thing are becoming much more aware of how viruses and diseases are spread, from the simple touching of doorknobs, breathing in an area. So I think moving forward, you guys will probably be a little bit more open-eyed to this, but we do have to think about this from the level of a dog or a cat. If they're walking on the floor of your clinic, think about the surfaces that they're touching. Think about when they sneeze, where they aerosolize. The cage doors are really, really important. Half the time, no one cleans those cage doors. It's really important to clean those cage doors. Those are where they lick, they sneeze on them, they drool on them. Yes, sometimes there might be wire bars, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to scrub them with a, sponge or whatever. But it really is truly important because the next animal that comes in that cage that licks that bar could be potentially be infected with whatever that cat or dog had before them. So in a clinic, small animal clinic or a large animal clinic, whatever you're at, you really just have to make sure that you're using proper cleaning protocols, using your disinfectant, spraying it on, leaving it on for a few minutes and letting it set, scrubbing, doing it twice, making sure you're really getting all those little debris off. A lot of cage doors on like the stainless steel caging, a lot of those doors come off. They come off the hinges. They just kind of open up and you lift them up off. So you can take them off. We used to, in our clinic, we would take them back to our kennel and every once in a while, we'd put them on the ground and we'd foam them up and scrub them really good and rinse them and then put them back on. Same thing with the cages. We would try to pull those back and rinse them in the kennels and really get them soaked good. Because in general practice, you don't have a large cage washer like we do at SUNY Delhi. So hopefully this little lesson was helpful for you. Please obviously continue to email me with any questions, concerns. If things aren't opening, let me know as soon as you can so that I can make some adjustments on that. I hope you are all doing well.